Hello and welcome to the inaugural edition of Vulcan Sportswire, where we're going to get everybody caught up with what happened in the previous few days with Cal Athletics and what's coming up in the future with Cal Athletics. And what better way to go through this journey is than with Matt Kiefer, Sports Information Director, best one in the country. I'll put it out there right now. Matt, it's nice to see you. I haven't seen you in like 6 hours.
I know. It's been very unusual to go 6 hours without seeing you. And I don't even know about the country. I'm rivaling at W&J here if you're even best in the county. So country's a big margin right there.
Well, the next time we're at Washington Wild Things Park and we see W&J playing, I'll take the notes from each and I'll have an independent counsel review them. And then at the very worst, we'll have a stat off at the 50-yard line of the nearest football field or something.
Sounds good.
But, Matt, I know, as you said, we're incredibly busy, but I know we're both extremely excited to be back to doing what, we're trained to do after the pandemic's not over, but at least we're trying to get back to normal with athletics and events happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long 10 months. We went out to Washington a couple weeks ago and felt really weird. The idea of, again, talking with everybody who goes to Wild Things games, it's the idea of okay, you go from football to basketball to baseball to softball combinations, but just going right into going back in there. It's been literally almost a calendar year before walking into that box. That box, you never know what you're going to do in the first place since there's normally a season there between us with the professional team. But it was really awkward. And then, but once the first pitch was thrown, it felt just like riding a bike back to normal. Obviously, between the lines, everything's normal, but you look around the stands, obviously everything is a little bit different still. But for those 2.5 hours of baseball, it felt exactly like it did in 2018, 19, whatever year you want to pick.
And it's been great to get back. And let's dive into the Sportswire because I know it's, as you said, it's been busy the last couple of days. And let's start in chronological order. This past weekend, Vulcan Cross Country up at Rodman Park had an invitational, Matt, and a lot of schools were here. And I know you were busy it was a beautiful day, but it was a little chilly.
Yeah, it's one of those things, very unusual. Cross country is expected to be August, September. It's running through early November. But it was like the first cross country race for the Vulcans had run since early November 2019. The NCAA Regional Championship. So it's been a long time. Obviously, in the fall, the athletes were not on campus. They could run at home, things like that. But they really didn't get the training and supervision, obviously, from the coaching staff until here in the calendar year of 2021. But the teams represented IUP, Slippery Rock, Seton Hill, and the women from Clarion. So it's definitely the Western Division, even the lower half of the Western Division programs coming to compete. On the men's side, which they actually ran first, so of course a little bit better shape for them. Freshman from CalU, Jonathan Trush, he actually won the race by 7 seconds in his college debut. Speaking with the coach afterwards, he'd only been on the course twice for practices, and one was really more just almost a slight jog walkthrough kind of thing. So that's very impressive to have a freshman that do that kind of thing. He won it with a time of like 14 minutes and 16 and a half seconds. And just so people have an idea what kind of runner he was an individual qualifier twice in high school. Out of Muhlenberg and Temple, Pennsylvania. So that was a strong sign there for the Vulcans. IUP actually won the men's race. They had 47 points. Slippery Rock was close behind at 52. So really close race. But everybody was really at this point just trying to get their sea legs in essence, trying to get back into the swing of things. Because, again, everybody who runs cross country is going to be competing in track, and that won't be starting until later in the month. So this is more or less the idea, just to get them started and a little bit peak up the conditioning for the track season. On the
Matt,
women's side,
real quick before you go to the women's side, with technology, there was a little blip. We missed whenever you said the last cross-country meet was. It was I thought you were giving us a little cliffhanger. I looked away. So when was the last home cross-country meet before this?
The last home cross-country meet would have been in September, I believe, of 2019. But the last race the team actually did was the regionals in November of 2019. So it's been quite a long time. And, again, both rosters had a number of freshmen, so they'd been on the course very few times for it before. And it was a little bit different course. Normally, anybody who's been up to the property have an idea what it is. They cross the road and go both parts of SAI Farm and Rodman Park. They stayed strictly on the Rodman Park side of it this year and did a race that was just over 4.4 kilometers, I think it was. The coach measured it at. So not typically your standard race by any means in terms of distance, or they basically did laps and loops, which is unusual in cross country, but anybody who walks that park knows there's some hills there, so you're going to be challenged. There's no question. So.
And after the men's race, the next group to challenge the hills was the women's event, and it seemed like looking at the results, there was a lot of competitors.
Yeah, I mean, again, you got an extra team there with Clarion. Roster size on the women's are typically bigger for most cross-country programs. Seton Hill actually won the women's race. Again, a close race. They had 48 points. IUP was close, the second in 51, and Slippery Rock was within 4 or 5 points, too. So overall, it was a really tight race for the upper teams in the standings. Sydney Irvine, a sophomore, actually led the team for the first time ever in her career in cross country, and 2 of the top 5 scorers for the Vulcans were freshmen. So that's obviously a nice sign to see some freshmen coming in and hopefully making an impact as the season progresses.
And Matt, so it was after cross country, Saturday winds up, but no rest for the weary. You got your gear and headed out over the weekend for a series with the baseball team against Walsh, coming in from Columbus, Ohio. Game 1, I know. Saturday or Sunday actually, it was a doubleheader. So long day for you. And what kind of happened on Game 1?
Yeah. It was supposed to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 separate 9-inning games, but weather being what it was, they decided to make it a double on Sunday and a single 9 on Monday. And Game 1 was unusual, too, for the idea of most doubleheaders people see in the PSAC are 7 innings, but this is a 9-inning first doubleheader, and then the second part was a 7. So Walsh came in. They were second in the preseason poll in the GMAC. They have a dynamic offense led by Andrew Check, who was their player of the year in 2019. He was supposed to miss all of last year anyways, because of an injury sustained, but he came back and definitely Game 1 made his impact known. And last time he played on the field, he had 17 homers and 63 RBIs, so you can tell he's a big man, has a lot of strength. Game 1, Cal had a 4-0 lead early in the game, but Walsh sort of came back and chipped away with 3 runs in the 6th, added another one in the 7th to tie it, and then forced extra innings because nobody could break the tie, obviously. The 2 guys on, checks up the plate, and he's just absolutely blasted a home run over dead center. And anybody who's been to that park knows that's a shot given how high the windscreen / pitcher's eye is back there. But one of those things, you have to pitch to him at some point in the series. You can't walk him every time. It's the same approach they had with Matt Adams when he played at Slippery Rock. Coach Conti a number of times. You pitch to him when you can. He's just up to execute. You respect him, but you can't be afraid of him. So it's a guy who definitely has the capability to win a game with one swing of the bat, and he did it in Game 1. But that was only Game 1 of 3, so they found a way to come back and take care of some other business in Game 2. So that was a nice thing to see the Vulcans come back.
And as we're going to talk about Game 2, we are good friends, and you arranged this from Walsh University. They were out there shooting the game, and we were able to arrange to get some clips for highlights. So as you start talking, we're going to see the beautiful sights of Washington Wild Thing Park.
Yeah, in Game 2, again, when you use as many pitchers as Cal you did in the first one, you definitely want to have a nice performance by your starter in Game 2 to try to get you some innings. And Dylan Broski did just that. He went 6 innings. Gave up 3 hits. The only run he allowed in the whole contest was a solo home run in the 6th inning, and he only used 69 pitches. So after you use a bullpen day 1, if your Game 2 starter goes 69 pitches and he gets you 6 innings, that's a really good sign. The Vulcans built a nice early 6-0 lead, early, but they actually benefited some errors. They got 3 unearned runs out of it. The big highlight in the game early on was a 2-run home run by third baseman Loudon Conti. So that helped the Vulcans get a lead there. That was in the 2nd inning of that contest. So it was nice to see the Vulcans come back and get the win in Game 2.
And then after the impressive win in Game 2, not done with Walsh yet. A little bit of anomaly because usually, always it's when you get in the routine, it's doubleheaders one place, doubleheaders the other. Rarely do you see an opponent back-to-back all that often. But Walsh coming back to Washington Wild Things Park on Monday for the series-ending game in a little bit of the cold weather again on Monday.
Yeah, on Monday, it's Walsh wasted no time. The leadoff hitter, Joey Holliga, played left field, and he got the game started with a leadoff home run. So one of those things there. For the weekend, Holliga was just a pain for everybody on the staff for the Vulcans. He finished only 4 for 7, nothing. He got on a lot. He had 5 walks. He had 2 home runs in 3 games. And for those baseball people, one of the newer stats is the OPS plus stat people keep talking about. His on-base plus slugging from the leadoff spot was 2,198. And then he batted right before Check. So every time Check came to bat, you knew a guy was on base. And being a leadoff hitter, he could move. So you had to be cautious of also taking a base too. So he was definitely a thorn in the side for the Vulcans. And he's going to be one of those guys, when you look at the all-GMAC team, he'll be on the team. There's no question. The kid is a dynamic player and a special one there for the Cavaliers. But the Vulcans scored in the 6th and 7th inning of the game, but the game Walsh added an insurance run in the 8th inning to sort of put a capper on that one. But Walsh took 2 of 3 against the Vulcans. But again, talking to Coach Conti this morning, actually, he wouldn't have it any way playing a team of that caliber. At the end of the season, you're going to see Walsh in probably the semifinals of the GMAC, if not the finals. And Wheeling in the opening of the year, they're going to be a team with about 20 wins in a normal season. Obviously, the season's shortened this year due to the NCAA limitations of games. But those are 2 really good teams they started the year with. And then but being 3-3 and seeing some of the young arms, getting the guys back into it, because again, remember, baseball didn't have a fall practice, so these guys haven't seen no live pitching at the D2 level since a calendar year ago, and that's extremely hard for any team to do. Most of the schools they're facing did have some semblance of a fall practice. Different schools obviously made different policies of who could be on campus, but Cal could get bats in cages at home where they could find them, but again, hitting in a cage against somebody with the high school is a lot different than seeing somebody on the field doing their best to get you out rather than just throwing you BP.
Well, and the other thing too is, as we're shooting this the first week of March, and the fact that the Vulcans have 6 games in at this point is very good, because there's been some years that the weather's been horrible and you're not getting 6 games until the middle of March or the end of March. So, and the old saying, iron sharpens iron. So we'll see if the tough early 2 series will pay off for the Vulcans in the long run. But that was Monday, and moving right into Tuesday, rescheduled doubleheader softball. Finally, Matt, I know you're one of the people that are just so excited that softball is back on campus. You have a new home. The team has a new home, a Lily Field ribbon-cutting ceremony. And what was it like just looking out at the field from your new vantage point?
It was definitely awkward for sure. I mean, everything about it from the last time the team played there was Coach Bertinoli told me that he got tons of alumni reaching out to him with the number. They couldn't believe it, but the total number of days between competitions on Lily Field was 1,409. The last game was April 30th, 2017. There was only one girl on the roster who was even on the team back then, and she didn't even play in that last game. So, it was totally different. The enthusiasm of the team was, you could tell in warm-ups and everything, they were ready to go and anxious. And it's just great to have them back. I mean, I had the opportunity to see them play in Florida a couple years ago for a quick weekend trip, and it felt great to at least see the team again. And I've made the trip to Slippery Rock and Seton Hill over the years for some games just to try to help out and show support for the program and also get an idea of what the program is. But very impressive with the team, how they played, and then being able to respond after such an adverse time of being away. The field would have been ready last year, but again, as we all know, COVID shut down everything in early March, and before they were in Florida coming back from spring break, and they never had a chance to play on the field.
Well, before they got to the first official pitch, there was the prerequisite ribbon-cutting ceremonies with dignitaries and members of the team, and that was always fun. I mentioned on the commentary how rare it is to actually see or be able to take part in a new facility opening, though it's the old facility, but basically it's a new facility. I mean, it was taken down to studs, basically, and re-leveled and everything. So, and the Vulcans wasted no time breaking out the bats.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was definitely one of those things there. You could tell the excitement. Again, it was number 1 in the preseason poll. They'd won the division 3 years in a row. So it's one of those things to do what they did. Definitely was impressive. Just like 2018, I think Gannett won the PSAC championship with the same coach they have now. So it's definitely a different team than what was there in 2018. But you could definitely tell the Vulcans were ready to play and excited to actually be at home. And they had a lot of new faces that nobody had ever seen before, and they performed pretty well.
And before we go to the highlights, we have 2 highlight packages for Game 1 and Game 2, so we don't really have to go too much in depth with those. But just 1 or 2 outstanding performers in the doubleheader that you can touch on, because I know there was a number of them, and I'd like to hear what you think.
Yeah, I mean, Ellie Lobdell pitched great in the first game. I kind of jinxed it. I pulled the joke in the press box of saying our job is getting harder and harder because we went 4 innings without allowing a hit. She hit the second batter of the game, but then she retired 12 straight before giving up a 1-out single in the 5th. So it was a run rule victory, but no hitter in any climate, whether it's 5 innings, 7 innings, 9 innings, is still a no-hitter. But yeah, she only gave up 1 hit, 1 hit by pitch, and 0 walks. So I think that's very impressive for the idea of seeing your returning. There's really no ace per se of this staff because they hardly played any games last year, so you couldn't really see who was going to get you the 20 wins, 15 wins, whatever it was. And then also Paige Wilson. She'd been battling injuries the last couple of years, but her just coming back and having a great doubleheader. She had 4 doubles in the doubleheader, 3 RBIs and 3 runs scored. Again, not picking these 2 because they're from my hometown, but they actually played really well. And, of course, Brooke Wilson at the top of the lineup. Everything starts with her. For a player of her caliber to be anchoring the program behind the plate, and then the leadership she has, definitely was dynamic. Those 3 individuals, and the freshmen. I mean, you're starting 5 freshmen in both games, an entirely freshman outfield. So you didn't really know what you're going to get. There was only one hiccup in terms of an error in the doubleheader, so I think the fielding was outstanding for the Vulcans, something not to be overlooked, because Gannon definitely had some miscues in softball. You have to take advantage of any opportunities that an opponent gives you. You have 21 outs in softball. You got to take advantage of every extra out they're going to give you, and they did.
And let's take a look at how the Vulcans took advantage of 21 outs in the first game. Well, not really 21 outs, but and then the second game. So we'll be back after these highlights. You're watching the Vulcan Sportswire.
And there's a shot over the second baseman's head. See if Coach Bertinoli is going to send a runner, and we have the first base hit and the first 2 runs at Lilly Field here for the Vulcans. There's a shot to left field. Back goes left fielder, and it is going to be gone. That's a home run. California 2-run shot by Alyssa Young, as that ball was pounded. Here's Young coming across the plate, and I tell you what, that ball hugged the line. Fires and just strikes her out. So a quick inning for the Vulcan. There's a shot to second base, and quickly and easily picked up by the second baseman for California, the freshman Jaquay, and that's 1, 2, 3. Gannon is out. The pitch, she swings. There's a shot left field. Outfield's going back, and that's going to be a home run. Touch 'em all, Charity, as another 2-run home run for the Vulcans makes the score 6-0. Freshman Charity Henderson hits it in the power alley. Here's the pitch. Shot to right field, and that's going to be some trouble going back. And that is a running catch by Charity Henderson, and the freshman is having herself a game. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, and that ends the inning. So after a loud base hit, California shuts down the Golden Knights. Swing, and that's a shot down the left field line, and that's going to get by. That's going to score 1. Here's the pitch. Jaquay now over the first baseman's head of the right field, and that'll score 1. Barron now. Swing and a miss. Kelsey Barron, 1, 2, 3. Barron, 2-1 pitch. There's a shot to center field, directly at the center fielder, and a little sliding catch for the out. 0-2 pitch. Shot and a nice leaping grab for the shortstop for the Vulcans, Alexa Pastor. She hits it to left field, center field. Diving catch, but it comes out. That's going to be a drop, but they're going to have a play at second, but nothing happened. And there's a shot to shortstop. It eats her up. Will she have a play? Throw to second, thrown into right field, and that's going to score a run for the Vulcans. So see if Gannon can get out of this or if California can extend. There's the pitch, and there's a shot to the power alley left center field. That gets to the wall. The Vulcans are going to score some runs here. 1 run comes home. 2 runs come home, and that's a 2-out double. California scoring 4 with 2 outs. And she knocks one to the right side. Second baseman makes a play, throws, and it is going to be not in time, and the throw to the plate is not in time. And California with the run there. 1-2 count to Posler. Here's the pitch. Swing, and she gets a shot into left field. Will there be a play at the plate? The throw goes to the plate, but that is going to be a run. Pitch into left field. That's going to bring home 1. High hop off the left field, and they're going to bring the second runner home. Throw to the plate. It will be cut off, and that'll be another run. 1-2 count. Here's the pitch. And there is one shot to the gap. That's going to drop, and that's going to get at least one run home. That's extra bases. And California will get their 9th run of the game. 2-run RBI by Brooke Wilson. Swings. There's a play at the plate as there's going to be a drop ball.
And welcome back. That was the highlights of yesterday's, as we're shooting this doubleheader season opener at Lilly Field. And Matt, we look behind. Now let's look ahead. And this is always, I know, a favorite time of yours because you're the one having to update what the schedule is. So as the schedule is now, what do we have on tap for the Vulcans and the Vulcan fans this weekend?
Well, yeah, it is Wednesday right now, afternoon. Looking here in California, it's pretty much the same weather. Softball is supposed to play again today up in Erie this afternoon. So we'll see how that one shakes out. And then if weather holds, you never know. I mean, I feel like a meteorologist in the spring time more than I am an SID or anything else in my job. But softball is supposed to return back to Lilly Field on Friday with a doubleheader versus IUP. Again, and then Saturday, they'll be flipping and going to IUP for a doubleheader. The baseball team is going to host a single 9-inning contest with Clarion non-conference game out at Wild Things Park on Saturday. And also is the second installment of the virtual series that swimming is doing this year. It's a very unique way to try to limit travel, train their athletes, because, again, very much like cross country, it's geared toward a championship event, not really head-to-heads. So everybody just works on improving times. Time trials kind of is an essence of what it is, glorified practice, different analogies, whatever you want to toss it out there. But, again, it's the second one of those. And then Sunday, baseball goes back again to Washington, plays Salem, independent program that's been doing some nice things over the last couple of years. And that's what takes us through this point next week. So we'll see, again, how many of those dates shift and change. It should be relatively looking clear in the weekend, but tomorrow does have a little bit of hiccup, possibly some rain. But with the turf field of Washington, you and I both know that's not really much of an issue. And softball, with the new field, you hope, again, that everything works out well, that a little bit of rain shouldn't really hurt it too much. But also, again, with the weather now are also COVID protocols. So that also throws more dynamics into the idea of when do you play and when do you play and who do you play.
And CUTV's coverage schedule, as of right now, again, weather and schedule permitting, we'll be at the softball doubleheader on Friday versus IUP, and then we'll be out there at Washington Wild Thing Park for the game against Clarion. But, as always, the only place, the best place, the most amazing place on the internet to find the most up-to-date information on the schedule is, Matt, I'll give you the pleasure of teasing your own work.
Yeah, CalVulcans.com. We always make sure we do the best part we can in terms of publicizing the live stats, live video, live audio, whatever it is, wherever it is, so people can follow. Because, again, in 2021, people are glued to their phones, tablets, computers, whatever. If you want to watch the games on YouTube, you can certainly do that. So any way you want to watch the game, live links are available on the website and also social media. We try to provide updates best we can and also share the links if anything would change with either bonus coverage of an event or if something happens technology-wise, because unfortunately that still happens. Things sometimes happen and you aren't able to provide what you can, but we're going to do our best to make sure we cover the best we can because, again, not every school has fans in the stands allowed. So, for instance, if baseball or softball is on the road, we want to be sure parents, family, friends, whatever can be able to follow what's going on and put it out there in one spot so they can find it easily.
And, Matt, with that schedule, I think it's time that we take the plug out of the Sportswire so you can get a little bit of work done in the office and we can gear up for this weekend. So that's the first edition of the Vulcan Sportswire. Once again, follow CalVulcans.com and CalVulcans on Twitter and then the new Instagram page. And I'm going to try and talk Matt into getting a TikTok page by the end of the season for all the update information. So for Matt Kiefer, I'm Gary Smith. You've been watching and listening to the Vulcan Sportswire.